All right, we're recording now, friends. Welcome to episode 98 of Storytime Yoga. This is Miss Mel, your children's yoga instructor with Breathe With Me Yoga, and this is Miss Avery here with me. And today is our first interactive episode of Storytime Yoga. We're so excited to have all of our little friends here with us today. And this is part one of our special three-part series. I'm going to hold the book up for you here, friends. It is called The Giants and the Smalls, The Adventures of Remy and Rit. And this book was written by my good friend, Nicholas Townsend Smith. As usual, my friends, I will post the link to purchase this book if you'd like to purchase the book and follow along. But all of my wonderful friends here today that are here for our interactive class will be entered into a draw, and we will draw a name at the end of the class where one of our friends will win their very own copy of this book just for joining us here today and being with us today. So that's very exciting. All right. As usual, friends, I will also just mention quickly that we are sponsored by the Healthy Starts for Families program by Juice Plus. We are also sponsored by Zyia Activewear, and Miss Avery and I are wearing our Zyia Activewear, and we are sponsored by Box Life, and I am just putting my sleeve on right now. I do all of my yoga with my Box Life sleeve. Okay, my friends, I invite you all to your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor while we get started. Cameron, you're gonna love my little breathing ball. I believe Miss Maggie has seen it before, but I don't think you've seen it before, Cameron. All right, coming to your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor, sitting down in crisscross applesauce or in hero's pose, my friends. What's up? Yes, you can. We're gonna have Avery ring our bells to start class. Can you all just let me know as well, do you see me big on the screen or do you see Maggie big on the screen? I see Maggie and Lauren right now big on the screen and not Miss Mel. So I'm hoping that you can see Miss Mel big on the screen, and if you can't, let me know and I'll try to change that view. All right, go ahead. Sitting up nice and straight and tall, having your hands in your lap. Good job, my friends. And this is our fancy breathing ball. And I know, Cameron, you haven't seen that before. So I'm going to show you when we breathe in all of that air into our belly and make our belly nice and big, like a big balloon. We make our breathing ball nice and big like this. And then we slowly breathe out all of that air and make our breathing ball small. So we're going to start with 3 deep breaths, sitting up nice and straight and tall, breathing in and out, in and out, in and out. Good job, my friends. And I'm going to pass the ball over to Avery, and you'll see that Avery did this too. I'm going to do this when I don't have the ball. If you don't have a ball at home, you can use your hands to go nice and slow to do your breathing. So we're going to do one more round, and just make sure that those shoulders in neutral position. You're not hunching them up while you're breathing. Breathing in and out, in and out, in and out. Good job, my friends. Okay, I invite you all to stay on your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor, and Miss Mel's going to come forward to begin our story. And I'm going to remind you that we today are reading the first little bit of this story, and we're going to read this story today in 3 separate parts. I'm going to see if I can change this view. There we go. Now Miss Mel is the spotlight. I figured that out. All right, The Giants and the Smalls, The Adventures of Remy and Rit by Nicholas Townsend Smith. I can't wait for you all to see the illustrations as well, my friends. Oh, losing that. All right, so I don't want to get you in the head there, Miss Avery, but we'll try and show everybody the book. All right. Beyond the night sky and further than the faintest star, past the darkest part of the heavens, is a world so big it would make our earth look like a single grain of sand. The inhabitants of this great sphere lived strange lives that were to a certain degree like ours, but the most curious thing about them was that some were giants and many were smalls. The giants and the smalls lived amongst each other and shared the world as so many of us do. They breathed the same air, had similar opportunities, and in many ways were alike. However, they were massively different in size. And look at this big giant universe, friends. I want you to see that there. And in that big giant universe is big giant stars. So our first pose today is going to be star pose. So come to your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor. We're going to be giant stars in that giant, giant universe. So I want you to spread your legs first, my friends. But before we put our arms up, Miss Avery, we're going to go right from our hips and we're going to stretch all the way down to the floor. Stretch, 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 push into the floor. And now lift up those arms into a big star. And I want you to go from your armpits and stretch right up. Cameron, can you show me your big star stretch? Stretch your arms and your legs as fast as you can. Stretch them big and out and be a big giant star. Good job. Good job, Maggie and Cameron. All right, coming back to our book, my friends. All right, look at this wonderful picture of the small. The smalls kept to themselves, eating tiny crackers and pea soup and having small talk. They believed that smalls were small, and a small is born a small, lives a small, and dies a small. They had strong beliefs about themselves. They never had thoughts of their little neighbors, even in insignificant ways. Smalls were afraid to do brave things because their minds were small, and they had always been small. So they went about in a small world, never having the courage to think big thoughts or take big risks. Their tiny feet led them down the same little paths, never brave enough to discover big things that would make them more exceptional in the heart. McBronze Rittenshanks, that's a big word, isn't it? McBronze Rittenshanks was born into a small family and lived a small, ordinary life. His small friends had a hard time saying such a large name, so he became known as Rit. Rit came from a family with a long history of being small, and as Rit got older, he lived an insignificant life, traveled the same small path with his parents had taken, and associated with other smalls who lived, thought, and acted small. All right, do you see Rit there,
so
friends?
many smalls.
He is eating his pea soup and his small crackers at the table. So let's eat pea soup and small crackers with Rit. Coming,
So many smalls.
I know. Coming to your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor, friends, we're going to do chair pose, and we're going to eat pea soup and crackers with Rit. So we're going to put about this much room in between your legs. I'm going to go sideways so that you can see me, friends. Okay, are you ready? We're going to lift our arms up. And Avery's gonna face me too. You can face each other at home too, friends. And we're gonna sit back in that imaginary chair behind you. Now I can be up here and just bend a little bit, or I can be way down here, whichever I want.
I really feel that.
Can you feel that in your legs? I know.
Yeah.
You wanna hold my hands? There, we can hold hands at home too and do partner and hold each other.
Whoa.
But you know, I'm gonna eat my soup. You good? I'm gonna eat my soup. Eat your pea soup.
Oh, that hurts my leg.
If you like a different kind of soup, please do. Friends, turn your microphones on. And tell me what kind of soup you like to eat. I like pea soup. I don't put crackers in my pea soup, but Rick is eating small crackers, holding that chair pose, eating soup. Show me how you eat your soup, Cameron, and tell me what kind of soup you like, or whether you like soup. Coming back to our story, friends.
I don't like soup, but if I had to have soup, I'd choose
Please
chicken
do.
noodle.
Feel free to put your microphones on so that you can talk to me and let me know what kind of soup you like and whether you like crackers as well. I'd like to hear all of that stuff.
Cracker soup.
Cracker soup?
Celery.
What kind of soup do you put those crackers in?
Noodles.
Noodle soup. Oh, that's the best when you're sick, is chicken noodle soup, isn't it? Isn't it? Maggie, what about you? What kind of soup do you like? Oh, they have to unmute themselves.
What's your favorite? She's shy. Chicken noodle as well.
Chicken noodle. I know that's the best when you're sick, isn't it? The best. All right. Okay, so let's move on. I don't want to get you with the book there, miss. All right. Like most smalls, Rit only saw the path he was on and rarely looked up to see what else might be happening around him. One day, a burst of distant laughter high above him had him look to the sky. The giants had always been nearby, but he never paid attention to them. And for some reason, that day, the sight of them sparked some fascinating questions. Why are there giants, he wondered. Why are they living such giant lives while I live this small one? How did they become so massive? Is it possible for me to become a giant? These were the first giant questions Rit had ever asked. He had once heard that everyone could become a giant, but his parents' words rang in his mind, giants are giants and smalls are smalls, and that's the way it will always be. Now look at Rit here. You see him, friends? And see all the big giants. See how big they are up in the sky? They're up in the clouds. So Rit really has to stretch his neck to look up at them. So let's
They are giants.
I know that we're all giants here, but let's pretend that we're looking up at the giants too. Coming to your mat, your blanket, or a piece of floor. We're going to do what's called a live pose. So we're going to stand in mountain pose. We're going to stay in mountain pose. Our feet are about hip width apart. And from our mountain pose, you can put your hands to your heart center there. And from our mountain pose, we're going to look up and reach up to the ceiling. Look right up, and I want you to stretch your whole front, your whole tummy and everything. Stretch that right up and look up to the ceiling and look up to those giants. Tell me what the giants look like. What do your giants look like? What color eyes do they have? What color hair? What are they wearing? Do they have hats? What about you, Miss Avery? Stretching.
Let's see. I have giant hats.
Giant hats. Mine have purple hats. What
Giant
about you, my
rainbow poop
friends? Avery says rainbow poop emoji hats. What about you, my friends? What do your giants look like when you look up in the sky? You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you can.
Green and brown hair.
Oh, I like it. Green and brown hair. That's like the Jack and the Beanstalk. That sounds like Jack and the Beanstalk,
Yeah.
that giant. Remember that giant?
Yeah, I remember that beanstalk.
All right. Okay. Rich shared his questions with some of his small friends who laughed at him. Smalls were good at belittling after all. They told him it's not possible to become a giant. You have to come from a certain family or have extra special talents to be a giant. Giants are unique, they said. You're just a regular old small. Rit slumped to the curb with his head in his hands. Maybe it's easier to be a small than to stand out. But inside, he knew he was more than a small. Look at poor Rit. He's very sad, slumped there on the curb. So we're going to do a little pose that we can show that we're sad like that too, but it actually helps us when we're sad. So coming to our mat or blanket or a piece of floor, when we're feeling sad or frustrated, friends, we can do this pose. It's called mouse pose or child's pose. So we're going to come down on our hands and knees, and we're going to sit our bum onto our heels. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come forward and we're going to put our forehead on the floor with our arms beside. So I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to get up and talk you through it, okay? Forehead down on the mat, arms back behind you, with your palms facing up. You can watch Avery doing it, keeping that bum on those heels, my friends. And what happens when you put that forehead down on the floor is it clears all of your frustrations and all of your anxiety. It gives you a clear head. So whenever you're feeling small, just like Rit is feeling right now, you can come down into mouse pose too, friends, and it will help you to feel better, especially if you're frustrated about something. It will help you to calm your mind. All right, coming back to the story. Good job, my friends. All right. Time passed, and while traveling down the same small path he had always taken, Rit saw the giants and asked himself, is this all there is to life? Staying small and afraid, not standing out or being different? Who would want to be small forever? He wondered. Not me, he exclaimed. I want to do more. Rit wondered how he could learn about the giants. He couldn't ask his friends and family, for they were all smalls. And what do smalls know about being giants? I've got it, he said out loud. Who would know more about being a giant than a giant? I know just what I'll do. All right.
Ask a giant.
That's right. So here is the picture again, friends. And you can see that there's the big giant world up behind him. And it says that he was traveling down the same small paths. And I want you to think about what it feels like to travel as a giant or travel as a small. So usually when we travel in yoga class, we go like this. You can come to your mat, your blanket, or a piece of floor, and you can try it too. We travel with big, giant walking lunges, don't we? But poor Rit, you can try this too. Try these big, giant walking lunges. But poor Rit, he's not a giant. He's a small right now. So he can't do these big, good big walking lunges, my friends.
I'm doing tiny
So
ones.
what do you think Rit did? Rit walked small. So let's walk small. Come down into a squat, my friends, and let's walk small. What does it feel like to have to walk like this? It's harder, isn't it? It's a lot harder to walk down small like this. So what do you think? Do you want to walk giant or do you want to walk small? I want to walk giant too. All right, come back to our story. What do you think, Maggie and Cameron? Do you want to walk giant or do you want to walk small?
Wow, giant.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
What about you, Maggie? Do you want to walk giant or small?
Giant.
Yeah, me too. I think everybody does. And I bet Nick wants to walk giant as well. I see my friend Anu here, which means that my friends Harshula and Kanika are here. Welcome, my friends. I hope that you're enjoying class. If you can, Harshula and Kanika, put your microphone on and you can answer that question too. Would you like to walk giant or small? If you don't want to, that's okay too. Just excuse me for a second. All right.
Giant.
Giant? Good, good. All right. I'm glad, my friend. I want to walk giant too. Okay, let's move on in our story. The very next day, Rit packed some small things into a tiny bag. He grabbed several pairs of his favorite striped socks and his hat. Of course, gathered some crackers and a hunk of cheese for his adventure, left the path he had always taken, and journeyed to find a giant. And here he is journaling, journeying, not journaling, journeying to find a giant. So let's pack our bags to go find a giant too. So coming to your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor, we are going to sit down and we're going to do a forward bend, a seated forward bend. And usually we do that with our legs together, but we're going to spread our legs this time because we're going to put our big bag right there, okay? So first I want you to stretch your arms way up. And I want you to bring those arms forward into a forward bend without bending that back, having a straight back. It doesn't matter if you're back here or out here, as long as that back is straight. And now I want you to put your big bag, is it a backpack or a purse, whatever it is, put it right there in front of you and start packing. Grab all your stuff and tell me what you're packing. What are you packing, Miss Avery?
Probably some cheese.
Some cheese.
Food.
I would pack some water. Miss Mel, I think with water is important.
Some water.
We need water.
Some extra clothes.
Warm clothes are good, just in case, because we might get to some place where it's a little chilly, where the giants are warm, but we're not. What else? I would
laundry detergent, so that I can wash my clothes.
That was a good one. So you can wash your clothes. You don't know how long you're going to be gone. It might be a big trip. All right. I think I'm going to pack some vegetables too, just for the first day.
Some vegetables.
Just to get me through the first day. All right, friends, coming up out of that forward bend, I'm going to come forward. You tell me what you packed too. What would you pack for your trip to see the giants?
Pillow.
A pillow too. That's a good one, so you can sleep. Tell me what you would pack, friends.
I think I packed a peanut butter jelly cereal with cheese on it.
Oh, good combo,
That's a new
Cameron. Good one. What about you, Maggie?
Bananas.
Bananas. I love bananas.
Yeah, I would pack bananas too.
That's so wonderful. And Harshul and Kanika, what about you? What would you pack? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Oh, there they are.
Kiwi.
Oh, kiwis. Wonderful. I love kiwis. You know what? I see Nick there, and he's driving too. Nick, tell us what you would pack for your giant journey.
I'd pack some striped socks.
I love it. Striped socks. I think striped socks might make you more powerful. All right. Good job, my friends. We're going to move on in our story. As Rit traveled, he made up a song, and as he walked, he sang and whistled the tune. And I think we'll have Nick sing this to us on our last episode, because I don't know how the tune goes, so I'm just going to say it. I would like to be like you, and you could be with me, and we will go on to the moon to see what we can see. When life gets too hard to do, will you come set me free? And as you find a way to break through, will you turn around and rescue me? Because the way is not found alone, and the only way can be one is by getting to somewhere that you've never known and do something you've never done. The path wasn't easy for Rit. There were rivers to cross. Rit loved playing in streams, so this wasn't terrible for him. He had forests to trek and long open spaces to cross where the sun beat down on him continuously. The heat at times was unbearable, but after a long journey, every journey being long for a small, Rit arrived at the place where the giants lived. And here is Rit in that big place where the giants live. But let's take that journey with him first before we move on. So coming to your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor, we're gonna swim in that stream. Yes, Avery is walking big giant lunges to her mat to take that journey. We're gonna swim in that stream first. So coming down to your belly, Miss Avery, coming on that way on your mat, coming down to your belly, all of my friends, pointing those toes back behind you and bringing those arms out in front. On the count of 3, we're gonna lift our legs and our arms. 1, 2, 3, lift up, and I want you to swim. Swim with your hands. Swim however that looks like to you. With those legs up too, friends. This is locust or Superman pose. With those legs up too, show me your good swimming, everybody. Swim through that river. Good job. That is some giant swimming. I love it. All right, friends, pushing yourself back up out of that pose. Now we're in the forest. So don't go yet, Miss Avery. We're in the forest. We're going to be the giant trees in the forest, okay? So we're going to lift one leg and get our balance. And you could tripod here with that foot if balance is an issue. Otherwise, bring that foot above or below your knee. Bring your hands to heart center to get your balance. And if your balance is an issue, hold hands. This is how we do partner tree pose. So I can help Avery with her balance. And put out your big tree branches. Once you have that balance, put your big tree branches out. Good job, Miss Avery. Good job, all of my friends. All right, we're gonna switch legs now, okay? So I'm gonna put this one down. I'm gonna get my balance here. You can go here if you need to, or you can hold mommy or daddy's hand, bringing your foot above or below your knee if you can. Good job. And I'm gonna bring my big tree branches out. These are big giant trees because this is the giant forest, isn't it? Good job, all of my friends. You guys are amazing giant trees. Beautiful. All right, friends, coming back to our story.
I'm a flying tree.
Oh, flying trees. Wonderful, wonderful.
Flying tree.
All right. They seemed so magnificent. He sat quietly for a moment and watched small, fearful thoughts. Small, fearful thoughts began to fill his head. Will they step on me? Are they going to eat me? He wondered. Who am I to ask a giant these questions? Mustering up a small amount of courage and trusting that he was making the right choice, Rit shook off these fearful thoughts and moved on. Rit approached a giant. His whole body shivered as he looked up. The giant's head was well above the clouds. His clothes were larger than life, similar to Rit's, but much bigger. The giant's brown vest and white shirt were all that was visible through the clouds. A giant green hanky hung from the giant's back pocket. It looked like an enormous flag blowing in the wind. Rit approached the massive being and began to climb. He hung on and climbed and climbed and climbed. As he reached the giant's shoulder, Rit could no longer see the ground below. His head spun, his knees wobbled. He held on to the giant's shirt collar to keep him from falling. He had never been so far above the ground and was hanging on for dear life. Gathering as much courage as he could, Rit climbed up to the giant's ear and yelled, "Mr. Giant!" And look at Rit here, my friends. Can you see that photo? There we go. There he is, hanging on to the giant, and he is screaming, "Mr. Giant!" So we are going to do one last pose before our relaxation, my friends. We are going to climb that giant too. So coming to your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor, we're going to come down on our knees first. We're going to put our hands out and our legs back. And this is plank pose, my friends. But now we're going to climb. So I want you to bring those knees up into your chest and climb and climb. Yet you can bring the foot up too, like Avery's. You can touch that foot if you like. And climb that giant, my friends. Keep going because you want to be a giant. Show me how you keep going, Avery. You want to get to the top of that giant so you can ask him how to be a giant. Climb. Good job, everybody. Good job. And I want you to all put your speakers on, and all together, once you all have your speakers on, I'm going to count to 3 once I see all your speakers on. And I want you to all scream at the same time at the count of 3, Mr. Giant. Okay? But we got Maggie on. Let's get Partial and Kanika on. And Nick, you can scream too if you want. All right. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3.
Mr. Giant!
Good job, everybody. And you know what? We're going to have to wait until the next episode to find out what happens next, because now it is time for relaxation. So I'm going to invite you all to your mat, your blanket, or your piece of floor. I want you to lay down. I'm going to invite you to lay down or sit down, whatever is comfortable for you, my friends. If you're laying down, putting your arms out like this beside you and your palms facing up. And if you're sitting crisscross applesauce or in hero's pose, and putting those hands in your lap with your palms facing up, putting those legs straight out, Miss Avery. Yes, I'm going to show a relaxation technique to mommies and daddies out there if your kids are laying down to help them relax. All right, my friends, we are going to close our eyes and we're going to take one deep breath, breathing in and out. And as you breathe that breath out, relaxing those shoulders down into the floor. If you're sitting, let them relax into the floor. If you're laying, letting them go, letting all of the tension go in your body, keeping those eyes closed if you can. And mummies and daddies, you can watch what I'm going to do with Miss Avery. So I want you to relax your chest and your waist, relaxing your arms and your hands, having those palms facing up. And I want you to pretend for a minute that you're that frustrated little small trying to get to the giants, and make those big clenched fists. I guess they're small clenched fists at that point if you're small. Squeeze them, squeeze them, squeeze them, and then let them go. And just relax those hands down into the ground with those palms facing up. And then relax those legs and those feet, letting your feet drop off to the side if you're laying down. If you're sitting, go to that bum where that bum is touching the floor, and make sure that you let go of all of the muscles in your bum. And mommies and daddies at home, closing your eyes, Miss Avery. If your child is laying down, you can slowly massage their forehead, moving down into the forehead and out. My friends, breathing in and breathing out, letting your breath do that at its own pace, relaxing your body. Mommies and daddies, this helps to relax and to breathe. Good job, all of my friends. I want you to notice all of the sounds around you right now. Is there anybody else in the house doing anything, making noises? Do you hear the sounds of humming or the sounds of traffic outside of your house? Maybe the dog barking. I know at Nicole's house, Jameson is barking because he loved yoga class. And just as you let all of those sounds around you go, I want you to do the same with your thoughts. Let them come in, acknowledge that they're there, and let them go. We don't need to think about anything right now. In fact, just take them. Whatever it is you're thinking about, just take it and tuck it underneath you. Tuck it under your mat or under your blanket. You don't need to think about anything right now. You can save it for later. You can solve all of the world later. Good job, my friends. And slowly and silently, I want you to say to yourself inside your head, I am healthy. I am courageous. That's a big word, my friends. I know you've heard the word courage before. And when we say courageous, it means that you have courage and that you're brave. And what we've learned so far in this story from Rit is that even though he is a small, he has giant courage. He had the courage to leave his small village, knowing that he wants to find out how to be a giant. He left that small village to take that giant trek to the giant forest, and he had that courage. He was brave, and he climbed up that giant to find out, to talk to him and find out how to be giant. And I want you to know that all of you have the ability to have courage too and be courageous too. You have the choice. So I want you to take the knowing that you have the choice to be brave and to do giant things too. And I want you to put that deep inside your head and keep it there deep inside your head. And I want you to take that wonderful, happy feeling. Do you know what it feels? All of my friends, Maggie and Cameron and Harshul and Kanika, you remember how it feels when you did something that was brave? You had bravery or you had courage and you did something. You remember how happy and good it made you feel inside your heart when you did something like that and you were brave? I want you to take that happy feeling and put that deep inside your heart. Remember how that felt when you did that before. Keep it deep inside your heart. And that is what Rit is feeling right now. He has the knowing in his head and the feeling in his heart. And I want you to take that knowing and that feeling and send it out to everybody around you. Send it to mommies and daddies. Send it to all your brothers and sisters and your aunts and uncles and everybody around you. And when you're done with that, bring it back inside your head and your heart and hold it there. Hold it there at least till next week, till next Saturday when we continue the next journey with Rit. And I think he's going to meet Remy next week. All right, my friends. Slowly and silently keeping your eyes closed. If you're laying down, roll to one side, bringing your knees into your chest. And if you're sitting, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes and wake up your body. Good job, my friends. And you can lay or sit there for a moment, and whenever you're ready, come and sit up and join me on my mat. Good job. All right, sitting crisscross applesauce or in hero's pose, my friends. Can you release for us? You can bring your hands to heart center. Everybody. And we will end class with Namaste. I feel good in every way. The goodness in me sees the goodness in all of you. Good job, my friends. You guys did such a wonderful job for our first week of this amazing 3-part series. I am so excited that you were here. Do you want to unmute and have a little chat with me right before we go? Hello, my friends. How was class for you?
Did you like class?
Yeah.
Yeah?
What was your favorite part?
Tree.
The tree?
The tree. I saw you having so much fun, Cameron, with the tree. I saw you fell over. It's so much fun to fall sometimes too, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Oh, what a beautiful job you're doing, Cameron. You make a beautiful tree. How about you, Maggie? What was your favorite part?
We did star pose.
I like that star pose too, because we can be giant, giant stars in our big galaxy, can't we? That was really cool. How about Nick? What was your favorite part of class, Nick?
Every part of it. There's so many giants. It's cool. Every part of it.
It was an excellent beginning journey, wasn't it?
Yeah, I love how you incorporated the poses into the story.
That was lots of fun. I enjoyed that first leg. How about our friends Harshul and Kanika? What was your favorite part of class?
I like the story. It was fabulous.
Oh, thank you, my friend. I'm so glad that you liked it, and I'm so looking forward to you joining us for next week. Pardon me, friend?
Bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye, my friend. All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 98 of Storytime Yoga. I am Miss Mel, your children's yoga instructor with Breathe With Me Yoga, and we are going to sign off today. Please do make sure that you are registered for next week and tell all of your friends. We will put the recording on the Breathe With Me Yoga YouTube channel so your friends can catch up with the story over the next week, and they'll be able to join in without missing a beat next Saturday. So I wish you all well, friends. We are going to say goodbye. Have a wonderful week, my friends. Much love to you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for coming, my friends. Bye-bye.